Another day, another real-world test. Today, we're doing it on the Marshall Middleton. But things are a little different today, as one, full disclosure, Marshall provided the speaker. I'm also on a trip with Marshall. They're showing us around South by Southwest, a festival here in Austin, Texas. So, as is the usual, going to talk about some of the things that I like about this guy. Also, we're going to explore a bit, but unlike normal, we're going to be exploring with Marshall. Regardless, though, first thing first. Coffee, check. And welcome to the Mohawk. And it's a live music event space here in downtown Austin. And Marshall has us here actually for a panel with some of their executives to learn more about the brand and what they're up to. And firstly, what I didn't realize entirely was the structure of Marshall. So, you might know of Marshall originally maybe as the British amp company.
If you can see, the numbers all go to 11.
And now you see the headphones and speakers, like the Middleton, of course, but these are actually made in a partnership between Marshall and Sound Industries. Besides that, Marshall Amplification also has Marshall Records, their own record label that represents a dozen or so artists, one of which being the Nova Twins, which received 2 Brit Award nominations. They also have their own recording studio right outside London. And just recently in 2021, even started their own booking agency called Marshall Live Agency to help support artists. Who knew? Now though, let's talk a bit about what they've done with their latest Bluetooth speaker, the Marshall Middleton. And firstly, we have our very iconic Marshall style. Those amp vibes kind of carrying across the lineup and honestly just kind of helps them be more unique. I've said in previous videos about Marshall products, I love the way they look. And I like that they stand out against most speakers out there. And of course, I'm sure Marshall is happy, they're very recognizably Marshall.
Entering into the CE world is a crowded space.
Now this Marshall Middleton is a new portable speaker that sits above the Marshall Emberton 2 in terms of size, performance, and even price. And just like those, we have our gold multifunction button on the top, which allows you to tap up to change the volume, up and down, left and right to change songs, and you push and hold to turn it on and off, as well as tap it to play and pause. Now in this speaker next to that, we also have separate controls for treble and bass, which allow you to quickly customize the sound. You can tell what level you're on for each of these things with the LED that is also present on most Marshall speakers, which will show the treble and bass levels, but also the amount of power or battery that the speaker has left. Now, the speaker weighs about 4 pounds, but it does also come with this pretty secure strap if you want to carry it around using that. It also comes in 2 colors, the very Marshall black and a cream color if you want to be a little different. Now another thing you can do with this speaker that you couldn't on previous Marshall speakers is charge your phone from it using the USB-C port on the back. It's also IP67 dust and water resistant and can actually be submerged in 1 meter of water for a period of up to 30 minutes. Marshall also told us that it is comprised of 55% post-consumer recycled plastics from used electronics, water bottles, and even automotive light covers, interestingly enough, and it is 100% PVC free. These tacos are from a place called Que Sazon that is catering the event, and they are a type of taco that I can say I don't think I've ever had before. They are called tacos al vapor, or steamed tacos, which are a variety of tacos de canasta, which is basket tacos, which are traditionally served in Mexico City out of a basket, funny enough. Now the difference between these is, well, mainly just a geographic naming, and potentially the fact that tacos al vapor are using a steamer versus, say, a basket.
Enjoy, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let me know what you think, all right?
I will.
Very messy, very good taco. They've been steamed to hell, so they're falling apart, but delicious. Austin and tacos, like, so good, always, every time I come here. And the soundtrack to our taco meal consists of DJ sets by the Queer Vinyl Collective, a group helping queer identifying DJs in the music industry, as well as bands like Noah and the Loners, We Don't Ride Llamas, great name, Sunflower Beam, Be Your Own Pet, and the headliner who actually just got back here to their hometown of Austin from being on tour, the Black Angels. Okay, and while we're here at this concert, essentially, let's talk about the sound of the Marshall Middleton. And firstly, it uses the Marshall headphone app, which allows you to pair to the speaker pretty quickly, and then you can just automatically start playing music from it. Also in here, you can adjust the treble and the bass should you want to do it in the app and not necessarily on top of the speaker, and even allows you to connect two different devices to the speaker so that you can each control it together. Now, powering the sound hardware-wise, we have 0.6-inch tweeters. We also have 3-inch woofers for the low end that are powered by two 20-watt Class D amps, and the tweeters are powered by two 10-watt Class D amps. And it all sounds like this. A couple of things I noticed about the sound. One, there's actually some nice separation between the different speakers, so it sounds more stereo-like than some other speakers of this size, which even if they have dual speakers, they kind of merge together sound-wise and it sounds a little mono. They also have true stereophonic sound, is what Marshall calls it. Essentially, it's a unique form that Marshall developed of multi-directional stereo sound, and it fires from all four sides. Now, besides Bluetooth, you can also use the aux in to play higher res music if you want from your computer or your phone or even a turntable. And lastly, I have to say, one, it sounds good. I'm not an audiophile, but the sound that comes out of here, it's rich. It sounds good. Also, it is the loudest speaker I've ever used that's this small.
And this is me talking while it's playing, so you can kind of tell the difference in the volume. And here I am, still talking. I'm at half volume. And now I'm talking and we're 3/4. I'm talking, we're at almost the top. Now we're at full volume.
And I feel like Marshall's very proud of that, probably. Welcome to Justine's Secret House, a not-so-secret event space created out of a Victorian-style house with a courtyard and a backyard where we've been brought by Marshall for dinner and a show. And we got a chance to meet Jen DiEugenio, who runs Women in Vinyl, that is a non-profit with the goal to help women and other minorities working in the vinyl industry with career development, work opportunities, education, and more. And they've now just partnered with Marshall. Now that show being Stolen Nova, the solo project for Josh Landau, who also happens to be the frontman of the rock quartet Easy and the guitarist vocalist of the band The Shrine. He's a busy guy, clearly. But in spite of that, he managed to put on one hell of a one-man show, all while keeping his audience very engaged. All right, with everything now kind of winding down a little bit after his show though, let's talk about the battery life, the price, and one of the other last interesting features of the Marshall Middleton. Okay, so firstly, Marshall claims it has 20 plus hours of playtime. I tested that and, well, yeah, that seems about right. Marshall also says that it takes 4.5 hours to return the Middleton to full power, and if you need a quick charge, 20 minutes of charging will give you about 2 hours of playback time. Now, using that app we already mentioned, you can actually connect the Middleton to other Middleton speakers to amplify the sound, which Marshall calls stack mode. Essentially, this is just a multi-speaker setup. You don't have to actually stack the speakers, although they do look cool when you do that, and doing that will make them louder, but the real benefit here is that you can connect a bunch of devices throughout a space, whether it's your house, your office, an event space, whatever, and have them all sync and play the same thing at the same time. Now, a couple of things. I asked Marshall and they told me, yes, this stack mode, which is again the name that they're giving this multi-speaker connection, it will work with other Middleton speakers, of course, but also Marshall speakers that support stack mode, like the Emberton 2 and the Willen. Although Marshall recommends connecting the same product to the same product for the best listening experience, because the sound that's gonna come out of this speaker versus, say, a smaller Willen is gonna need to be different. So you're not gonna get the same experience as you would if you just connected a bunch of the same speakers together. I also asked them if there was a limit to how many speakers you could connect, and they told me that they once connected 60 of these 60 of them together in their office, and it still worked just fine. And they actually would have put more, but they ran out of speakers. And so I don't think your average person is gonna have enough speakers to reach the limit of this feature.
The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist.
And lastly, the price. The price for this model is $300. And honestly, that is a lot for a speaker of this size, but you'd be hard pressed, I think, to find another Bluetooth speaker that sounds this good, gets this loud, and has this much battery life at that price as well. Okay, calling it a night. And shout out again to Marshall for bringing me here, for letting me use the speaker, for making this a thing. If you want to learn more about the speaker, check it out at the link below. But there you go. What do you guys think of the speaker? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what you thought of this video. Did you enjoy it? Was it good? Do you like this format? Questions I always ask. But I always appreciate hearing from you guys. Let me know in the comments below. And today has been a very long day. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of sleep so that I can check out the rest of South by Southwest, at least for a couple of days on my own. Good night.